Hey everyone, welcome back to Milwaukee Uncut. On this episode, we had Payton Sartain in the studio. For those of you who don't know, she is the host of the Note to Self podcast produced by Dear Media. Also has the Three-Way podcast. She's a content creator with hundreds of thousands of followers and gets a ton of engagement across platforms. What is she doing on Milwaukee Uncut? She's typically based out of LA, but she is dating Brewers pitcher Joe Ross. So we got into, and she's living here for the season in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we got into a number of topics, how she met Joe. Good story. Johnny Manziel was involved in that one. We talk about how she's enjoying Milwaukee so far and her favorite things to do here in the Midwest. We also get into a number of relationship questions, specific relationship situations. Some of them you are not going to believe. So we have our own Ask P segment on Milwaukee Uncut today. It is a fun episode. We loved having Payton down. Bree co-hosted it with me. Oakley, our dog who's over there, was excited. So it's a good one. Just a reminder before we dive in, this show is brought to you by Central Standard. They make some great Door County cherry vodka, none of which is remaining after the episode we had with Payton, so we're going to have to reload on that. Also have these nice mini bottles that are in the studio with our logo on them. And it's also presented by Nicolay Law, the Midwest law firm. On the episode, you will see a sign behind me with Russell's pretty face on it. He's got a sign in the studio and on, I believe, thousands of billboards across the state right now, and is also a great human being. So Nicolay Law, if you're in an accident, call Nicolay. All right, let's dive into today's episode of Milwaukee Uncut with Payton Sartain. How's it been going so far? You've been here for a few months.
You know, it's going well. I will say, moving from Los Angeles in March, I moved here before Joe got here. He was at spring training and, elsewhere. But I moved kind of in the last little snowstorm situation in the middle of that. So when I landed, I remember being so stressed out about moving, obviously, like almost across the country. I had my dog with me and all my stuff, and I got outside and I was wearing like the thinnest little cardigan because I was thinking like, I don't know what, I was not thinking. Land at midnight and my Uber pulls up and it's covered in snow. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? What have I done?
Have you seen snow before?
I was going to say, yeah, have you
seen
lived in
snow before. We get some in Texas, not like this at all. I've traveled for like, winter skiing, things like that. But I'm not a cold weather person. And I lived in Los Angeles for 8 years prior to moving here. When it would hit like 55, we all cry about how cold it is. So I get out, and the first week the weather was crazy. But since then it's gotten so nice. I mean, the summer here has been great. We just went to the lake, which is really, really fun. But yeah, I'm loving Milwaukee so far. It kind of reminds me a little bit of more of like the Texas vibe that I kind of grew up around. People are super nice. It's just been a really great place to call home for the season so far.
Very random question. Were you at A&M for the Johnny Manziel era, or were you after that?
So I was, and actually when I moved out to Los Angeles, he and I were friends, and he was my only friend from Texas when I moved out there, my only guy friend. And he actually introduced me to someone who would later become one of my best friends still to this day. And I met all of my best friends through her, basically.
Really?
So he was definitely, and he was there the night Joe and I met. Joe walked in. It was a whole thing. He just the first things I think Joe ever said to me in our relationship in person was, "Is that Johnny Manziel?" And I was like, yes. Forgot to tell you that. But anyway, yeah, so I was there with the Johnny saga. He was a year older than me in school. So when he started playing was actually my freshman year at A&M. And I'm a third generation there. So big Aggies my whole life. And that first electric first year he had was my freshman year, actually attending A&M, which was such an exciting time to be there.
When did you start creating, essentially?
So I started in college when I was at Texas A&M. This was probably back in when did I graduate? So 2015, I started a blog. I was trying to go the pre-law track in college. I was really interested in going to law school. Once I started studying politics and government specifically, politics was my major, I just was really disillusioned. And I kind of was naive to think how it all worked was very fair and just. And when I learned more about it, I was like, I don't want anything to do with this. But I already had gone through about 3 years of school, and changing my major was becoming pretty difficult. So I was like, well, I'm just going to start a blog because I'd like to try my hand at kind of fashion PR. So I started a blog in order to show okay, I have a poli-sci background, but I can, at this point, back in 2015, kind of get traffic from a blog to a website, kind of push products, so to speak, or get people from social media to the blog, just so I can have some analytics to back, my abilities to do so for another company. So I interned out in Los Angeles when I was in college still. I was a junior. I worked for a company called For Love and Lemons, and I worked in their PR kind of sector. They were really, really new at the time, but they were killing it on social media. And that kind of taught me everything that I needed to know about social media and how it works in the back end to grow. And then I was the one kind of the point person giving out gifting and paying influencers, because at the time in LA it was already a pretty big thing there. Not where I was in Texas. This was completely new to me.
No, non-existent in Milwaukee in 2015.
Yeah, not a thing. They were doing it big time in LA, and I was really seeing the back end of this and seeing how much money people were making as influencers. So that's kind of the time I got started people sent me some stuff and product to talk about on the blog. So after that, I went back to school. I graduated, but I knew that I wanted to move back out to LA and kind of try my hand at making, at that time, the blog my full-time job. And obviously it's gone now, it's gone from blogging to social media stuff to the Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest and all these things into now the podcast.
What was the first big break you got, or what was the first dollar you made off of that?
Okay, so I actually didn't get sponsored deals for a while, but I did make quite a bit of money with commission.
Affiliate stuff.
Yeah, just affiliate marketing. I had a pretty big Pinterest presence already because I used Pinterest a lot in even high school and college. So I would put products that I liked on Pinterest in a pin, and then those pins would a lot of the times go viral. So I'd make money on anyone clicking those pins or buying stuff from the pin. So I made more money on commission first.
And then how did that snowball into a Dear Media podcast and things like that in your large Instagram following?
It was a long road. I will say for me, my skill when it comes to working with brands specifically is ROI. I can drive a lot of sales based on my following. I would say most of the people I know in the space have grown a lot faster than me and a lot bigger faster than me. I personally don't do well with growth as much as I do taking care of the following that I do have. So in terms of kind of pivoting, I think I've always just tried to I guess find where I feel most comfortable. And I loved the blogging aspect. Once it switched over to more social media heavy, because you just kind of have to, I never really felt very passionate about that. I love using social media, but creating on social media, it didn't feel super fulfilling like writing did. And so I started the podcast kind of at random because I just felt like I needed to do something else. And this was a little over 3 years ago now. I just started with a really, really cheap mic, and I edited the audio on my Final Cut Pro software that I use for YouTube, and because that's all I knew how to do. And I kind of worked my way around getting it put up on iTunes and Spotify and stuff like that. So that started in my room, and I did it for about 1.5 years, just by myself, paying for it myself, not making any money off of it. And then Dear Media approached me. I had connected with Lauren Bostick, just because she's part of the reason that I started a blog in college at all in the first place. And I had followed her for a long time, and then a few years later she had followed me, which was such a cool thing to just be like, oh my God, you inspired all of this. Then she reached out to do kind of a blog swap, and we did that. And then she was like, well, I see, or I've heard that you started a podcast after about 1 year of me doing podcasting. She reached out and she was like, we'd love to talk to you about Dear Media once your listenership is at the level that, the entry point of a Dear Media show. So that took a little while. They kind of followed along on my growth as that happened. And Lauren was actually really the one to spearhead that and connect me with who I needed to be connected with. And she would check in and kind of be a removed a little bit mentor. So I really, really respect her for that. And I was able to meet her somewhat, I guess it was last year around this time actually. Finally, in real life, which was so cool. And she's definitely one of my heroes. And I'm really, really, really happy that she chose to kind of follow along and see what I could do for Dear Media.
Before we move off the content creation, do you have any advice to people who are at a lower level trying to make it as a content creator?
I think and actually I've talked about this before with Joe talking about baseball, and we talk about how baseball is a sport of failure. Like you fail more than you succeed, and if you do that, you're still like a superstar. I think with social media, like it's kind of a experimental process. Like you'll have things that'll go viral, you'll have things that won't go viral, but you can't really let like that and all the numbers make you stop or kind of let it feed you even. Like you have to like have a purpose for what you're doing, and you need to just be consistent and keep going. Like even if things are tanking over and over and over and over again, everyone goes through that exact same process. Like not everyone is, I mean, even like an Alex Earl, who's like huge right now and has been for a little while. She's talked about extensively how she was on TikTok for years before she kind of blew up, and it was just failing and failing and failing and failing. And then she hit her stride, but she had to have been, you know, working at it consistently and learning from each piece of content. But I think people just think it's supposed to happen overnight. And I've never really had like a period of like, oh my God, like I blew up overnight or this crazy thing happened. It's been really, really slow, steady growth for a while.
Mm-hmm. That's who was just in Milwaukee, right?
She was just in Milwaukee.
I saw
with
that
Braxton.
too.
Yeah.
At Red, White, and Blue.
Yeah, Red, White, and Blue. They got some bottle service there, and then they went to the brewery too. I saw.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I need to look where she went.
Have you been to Red, White, and Blue, Payton?
No, I haven't.
We
Jeez,
need to take
wow.
you to Red, White, and Blue.
You are missing out.
It's I went to Marquette,
Okay.
so it's definitely a college bar. Brewery feels like a good spot to go to if you haven't gone there yet.
Yeah, I need to. I actually was talking to someone about, I just did an event in Chicago for people who listen to my podcast. And one of the girls who was at the event is from Milwaukee, and she drove from Milwaukee to Chicago to the event. And I was like, I'd love to do like some kind of like before a Brewers game, like bar tab or something for people who are local, who like follow me or listen to Note to Self. And so I'm trying to like figure out cool places where I could do
I feel like the brewery could be a cool place. There's a lot of, I think, cool spots.
There's a lot of good bars in Milwaukee. A lot of bars here. That's one thing we're not short on.
No.
Have you been like out on Water Street?
Payton, where have you been?
Where have you been in Milwaukee?
I haven't been anywhere because I literally like go watch a baseball game and then Joe has to go home. And like there are very like few places that we go on like an off day or like an off night. I feel like Carnivore is a big one. So like go to Carnivore and then we'll walk somewhere close by to get like a nightcap and then go to sleep. Cause like Joe can be wild and fun with me, but typically not during the season. So I'm like, damn, I need like people to go out with. Cause I'm wild. Like I love to be going wild, like crazy, but like I'm very much like a work hard, play hard kind of person.
Yeah.
Like once I turn the work brain off, it's like, okay, where's my drink?
Yeah.
Put one in my hand immediately.
You need to experience the true Milwaukee going out. You need to go out 3rd Street, though I don't know if it's called 3rd Street anymore, and then Water Street. To do.
Okay.
Need to do
I'll
a
do
true
it.
Milwaukee bar crawl.
That would be wild. I do that like maybe once every 3 months to turn back the clock. But do you enjoy going to EDM concerts?
Not really an EDM girl, but I definitely was telling Joe last night because we went to Lake Geneva and we were like around like those bars. I love like a classic bar. Like I think when people coming from LA, people will be like, okay, well Payton will like this like really chic, you know, kind of situation. I'm like, no, girl, I need like I want a bar where everyone, the median age is 50, and like it's just a bunch of old divorcees, and they're just like there to tell me life stories while we drink, while we take some random shots.
There's
good bars.
I'm like, that's what I want. That's my favorite. That's my bread and butter.
I was just asking. Bree took me to an EDM concert
really?
at Summerfest last year, and then she brought back up that she wants to go to one this year. And I'm just like, fuck no. I'll buy the tickets. You can go with a friend, but I am not going. So
you're trying to find someone to accompany her.
Yeah,
You're like, please do like
He will not go back to a concert with me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even that bad.
I wouldn't say I'm a huge EDM girl. That's another thing that I feel like I wish I understood.
I
more.
pre-gamed it, and then I went in there, and after like 20 minutes, I went on the pavilion and had water for 40 minutes, and then I walked back in with earplugs for the rest of it and just grinded it out. And I'm not going back.
I have to say, I don't know if you probably haven't gone to a concert at the amphitheater.
No, not yet.
Largest music festival in the
It
US.
is. You should
Summerfest.
definitely go to Summerfest.
Really?
It's fun.
They have plenty of other genres too, which I would be happy to go to.
Are you? What is your like music genre? Like,
I mean, I do listen to a lot of country typically in the summertime. I like hip hop. I like a lot of different things, but I would say like EDM is like the one. A lot of my friends love like house or like EDM, but I just like, it's not me, but also like they're all on drugs typically. So I'm like, I get it why we would like this because we're like insane. But if I'm like drinking a beer, it's hard for me to be like, at an EDM concert.
I have to say Wisconsin does. So up by where I grew up, like Menominee, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, they have the best country. So they have Country Jam and Country Fest.
Okay, good to
so
know.
fun. But too, at Summerfest, they have good country. I think Keith Urban's coming.
Okay. I actually was looking up the dates for all of this stuff because did Summerfest start like last weekend?
No, I think it starts next weekend.
Okay.
And then I think it's 3 weekends in a row.
Okay.
Like three, they changed the format a couple of years ago. I think it's 3 Thursday through Saturdays.
Yeah, it's just Thursday.
I'm very anxious to see all that because everyone's been telling me about Summerfest and like just how many like festivals there are in Milwaukee. So we're very excited.
No, and I was not shitting on Summerfest. They did
Yeah.
an amazing job
Yeah.
with the
He was
amphitheater.
just shitting on EDM
Too good of a
concerts.
job with the
It was
amphitheater.
okay,
and
that too.
I am
I feel
36
like
and
Odessa's kinda
prodigy at this
harmless.
point.
The
So
acoustics are a lot.
yes. We are back after a break sponsored by Central Standard Distillery's Door County Cherry Vodka. Payton, so how did you and Joe initially meet? With Johnny Manziel there.
Johnny and Toe there.
Shout out to Johnny.
So we met on a dating app at first.
Which one?
It's called Raya. It's
what
when I
is
was
Raya?
on-
You haven't
is
heard
that
of
in
Raya?
Milwaukee? What?
You can. It's like everywhere.
I've
It's
been out of the
international.
game for like 8 years. Thanks
You
to
would
you.
not be eligible for Raya.
Okay, what is Raya?
So Raya.
What is this elitist dating app
It
that
is
I would
no,
not
it's
make the cut
the
on?
most elitist dating app. It's actually
I've heard of
stupid.
the League before. Is this a level up from the League?
I would say it's a different type of dating app than the League. Like the League, you sign up through the LinkedIn, and actually a lot of my friends met their now husbands from the League. But that one, like they vet your job and stuff. This one, you sign up, and I think honestly for men, like I think a lot of the guys that got on there initially like know the founder some way, because sometimes you're like, this is supposed to be elitist. And, like, this
He's
guy
just
sucks.
hooking all his boys
Yeah,
up.
he literally is hooking all his boys up. But you apply yourself and you give them your social media stuff, and then they have to approve you. But I did this a long time ago. I think I was 21, so that's like 9 years ago. I got on Raya because one of my friends was on it. And I was in LA. It's the guy I think was based in LA. She's a model, and she was like, "Oh, my friend's like, I'm gonna get all my friends on it." So she just like submitted us all for it. I think that there was at some point like it was harder to get on it, but it was just kind of like a who you know thing for me at least. And this wasn't when I had a ton of Instagram followers or anything like that. But you sign up that way and they approve you. It's a lot of athletes, a lot of like entrepreneurs. So I've used it in the past. I don't know anyone who's used it like a dating app. Like, I don't know anyone who's gotten on Raya and been like, it's more for window shopping. You'll typically get guys or women from across the world. So it's like this person's based in Germany, this person's based in the UK and Australia. So it's like, this isn't like helpful for me to actually use for a date, but it's kind of more of just like a window shopping
Even
thing.
in LA?
Even in LA. There's some guys in LA, but like it wasn't a lot. And it's just every athlete's on it. It becomes like a really small community. You'll see people out. That's where it becomes like, oh, we matched on Raya, like LOL, like we're at a bar or something, So Joe was on it, and this was at the very, very, very like right before 2020, 2020 started really unfolding the way that it unfolded. Pre-COVID lockdown, I was actually at spring training with my family. They're very involved in baseball, and at the time they had a couple businesses that were like baseball adjacent. So they would go a lot and meet their, friends, coworkers, do the networking they needed to do. My little brother's played baseball his whole life. My sister played softball all the way through college up to the professional level. So they just loved it. She's now married to an ex-baseball player who I think was playing at this time as well. Anyway, I was there, so I think proximity-wise, he was also there. So we had matched on Raya, but we'd never really like talked that much. It was just kind of something you talk on the app, it fizzles out. He ended up finding me on Instagram and DMing me, and that's when I like actually looked at his photos, and I was like, wow, like this guy's really hot.
He looks good.
So I ended up talking to him, and all dating app conversations are awkward. I think the premise of it is a little bit raw and awkward. You're both there to like test each other out to see if you either want to like hook up or date each other. You know what I mean? So it's like that. It's going to be always a little awkward, but I think our first conversation was so like, I think I didn't get the ick, but it was very much like, okay, like that was a weird thing to say. All right, I'm not going to answer anymore. And I think that's typical of dating apps. But once we switched to Instagram, he like answered one of my little Instagram stories, and I got a feel for his humor, and he's really funny and like very charming. So we started talking from there and just kind of got to know each other literally through FaceTime and text for a while. And then I ended up going back to Scottsdale about a month later after that and met him in person. I told him that I was actually having a party at this house that we were staying at with my friends. He was staying like 45 minutes away, so I did not think he would show up. So I was like, yeah, I'm having a party. Like, you can come over if you want. Like, I'm being nice, inviting whoever. And he shows up by himself. And the party was me, one of my girlfriends from LA, my friend Johnny, and then his friend from Texas. And Joe walks in, and we're all like, oh, he came. and he walks up to me, walks past Johnny, because Johnny had introduced himself, like, hey, I'm John. And Joe, like, looks over at me and goes, is that Johnny Manziel?
So it's 5 people there?
It's 5 people. I was like, my friend's from
It's
my
you,
party.
Johnny Manziel. I'm throwing a party. He
Yeah.
probably expects like 50
A
people
bunch of
there.
people. He's like, I didn't expect him to show up. He was taking such a far away, but he ended up being great. They ended up, really hitting it off, talking about sports and all the things. And we met from there and pretty much didn't stop, talking. Just started dating probably that next month or so. And I would just see him once a month while he was playing at that time with the Nationals in DC.
What a nice love story.
Yeah, right.
It is a good.
And very interesting. Modern love story.
Yeah, it is. I feel like a lot of people.
Bria, how do you know about Raya?
I feel like a lot of people know about Raya.
I think it's like
Am
a
I
topic
that out
of
of the loop?
conversation on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel, you are out of the loop for not knowing Raya.
Okay.
It's not very interesting, so you don't need to know about it.
You haven't been on there.
Do you think I've been on?
No, I'm just curious. Bria and I matched
It's
on
like, what's going
Tinder.
on?
We are actually a Tinder story here. Yeah.
That was like the OG original.
It was.
I feel
It
like.
was back in what, 2015?
8-ish years ago.
Yeah.
When we first matched. It was a
They
while
really
ago.
paved the
I hosted a student office visit day, and Bria came on that. and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I didn't hit on her during
Of
that, but
course.
we matched on Tinder. So you
Yeah. You're like, I made it
shoot a
work.
hey, you look familiar kind of message. We should get drinks and
That's the
Yeah.
best way to do it. That's the
It
best way
was.
to do it.
I think that was literally the only conversation we had on the dating app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's like the healthy way to do it. That's a
Yeah.
little bit how I felt because Joe and I had met him in person, but we had seen each other on the app and talked for a second. So when he came to Instagram and DM me, it was like disarming. He wasn't like a random person. It was like, oh, this is
you,
that
like,
guy
knew who he
from
was.
yeah from that. And also didn't hurt, I guess, that this was right post the Nationals winning the World Series. This is probably like 3 months
so he was just
after.
riding high.
He was riding high.
He was just
like,
right.
feeling
That's when you
himself.
show up to a party solo, 45 minutes
Literally.
away.
That's
You
true.
got that
Like,
kind
you
of
got
energy
to
going
do that.
for you.
Feeling good
Yeah,
about
your
yourself.
confidence is just through the roof.
Through the roof. He was killing it. Yeah.
I'm gonna go to this party where I know no one. I'm
Yeah.
a World
He's like,
Series
I'm showing
champion.
up, this girl's
hot. I'm just gonna
I'm
show
going.
up.
It was great. It was great. He actually, Joe is the person.
Shout out
though,
to Joe. I love
Joe
that. I
sounds
love
like
that
a
move
great
right
guy.
there.
If anyone's going to show up to a random party and be kind of part of the life of the party and everyone's going to love him, it's going to be Joe. He's just very personable. So he gets the confidence. It's backed by, a good personality, I would say.
That's good.
When you met him, did you have any concerns about dating a professional athlete?
No. I mean, a lot of my friends at that point, a lot of my guy friends from A&M had been professional athletes or were at the time. A lot of my girlfriends had dated athletes and were dating athletes or married to them at the time. I think that there's a whole discourse, obviously, about athletes and how they can be pretty horrible sometimes because they kind of have the same level of access to women as women have to men. And I feel like men don't know how to act sometimes when that happens. But I've met shitty athletes. I've met great ones. It's just like you gotta trust yourself. And I've always trusted myself in terms of like judges of character. There's been guys who play sports or who have other things going for them that I have talked to or dated briefly, more casually, and I feel like I can tell pretty immediately, like, this isn't going to work. Like, this guy sucks. Or he's like, this is definitely a cheater. You know what I mean? Something like that. So I try to trust myself. But I think as a woman, I feel like with men in general, I'm just like, I'm always doing a little side eye. Like, just like, it doesn't have to be athletes even. I'm just like, men, like, don't trust you guys.
Yeah, I feel like you can pick that up if
Yeah,
you're
you
kind of
can.
in tune of,
You
or if you're
can.
just like a confident woman too, like
Yeah.
you're sure of yourself, you can pick that up on guys pretty easily.
Yeah, you can. You can tell a little bit of insecurity from like a mile away. And transparently, before I dated Joe, the only other guy I had dated played football. So I had already kind of known the back end of that, and he's a great guy as well. So I had like he ended up being like one of my friends. Like he's just someone who was one of my friends who we ended up dating, and we were probably better off as just like really good friends. But didn't have anything bad happen with him, and he was just a super nice guy. So in terms of athletes, for me, my track record had been good, so I had nothing to worry about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely guys who are not athletes that do not
that are
good
just
things
as
as well.
shitty. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They just typically don't have the same access, but they can still do that. They're not on Raya. They're slumming it on Tinder and the other apps, apparently, like me. But anyway, Payton, can you just walk us through the moment that Joe signed with the Milwaukee Brewers and how excited that you were to come to this city for
So when Joe signed with the Brewers, I mean, this is like a long time coming though, because so when I met him in 2020, him and his older brother were actually both playing at that time. They both decided to take 2020 off. So I didn't watch him play at all for the first year that I dated him, to the point where I was like, okay, this guy plays baseball, but like a lot of guys play baseball. Like there's a lot of different, levels and leagues and all these things. So it took a while for Joe to be like, Payton, like, I'm actually good at baseball. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'll believe it when I see it, I guess. Like, I've never seen you throw a baseball. I've never imagined you working out. I told him the other day, I'm like, I've never seen you like run. And he's like, I run every day. And I'm like, yeah, but like not in my head. Like, I don't see you running. Like, you don't really seem like the type. He's like, Payton, what are you talking about? Because his life is so separate in that sense. So he wasn't playing for that year. He ended up being back with the Nats the following year, and ended up coming out of a game about halfway through the season with an elbow issue. After that, he got a bone spur removed. So that was a surgery and 6 months of rehab going into the next season. And then he kind of did that to avoid getting a Tommy John surgery. He ended up coming back from the bone spur removal and went out to pitch like one time, and it was very clear that he needed a Tommy John. So he went back in, did a surgery that was 14 months of recovery on top of that 6 months that had already happened. It was such a disaster. I mean, it's hard to kind of, when your identity is baseball, to be not playing for 20 plus months. It's really difficult. Luckily, the new surgery that he got is a really, really, really good, robust surgery for the Tommy John situation and that injury. A lot of guys have gotten this one now, and he's doing really well now, thankfully. But through that process, he was out for 2 seasons pretty much. At the end of the last season he was out, him and I actually broke up, and we broke up for pretty much all of 2023. Completely that year. He was signed to a minor league deal, which for the first time in a long time, that really hit, I would say, hard for him, because it just makes you start reevaluating. And again, it's your identities. He'd been in the major leagues for a while at that point. And that was really difficult. It just felt unfair to him, and he just, had a moment there. Typically, I feel like any sports story, my friends that date or are married to now NFL players, and a lot of girls on the team have been like, oh, that happened to us too. Like, it just happens, and learning to deal with injury as a couple is different than when he's injured and he's single, Mm-hmm. So that was a whole process for us to learn and grow together. And when we decided to get back together, that's when he was, back on the mound, feeling healthy, feeling like himself again. And he was going through a couple different teams. I think he had like a New York team on there. He had originally been drafted by the Padres, so he'd been in contact with them a little bit, I think. I try not to ask too many questions, because I'm like, he's going to do what he needs to do. So at first I'm like, I've been dying to live in New York. So I'm like, all right, like, that's like the Mets. That's fine. Like, that's sick. Let's do it.
City girl for the summer.
I'm a city girl. I love that stuff. A lot of my friends live in New York. I'm like, I've always wanted a reason to live there, but I never had a reason to move from Los Angeles to New York, which is just such a big move, and like, whatever. So I was really excited for that next chapter. I loved DC. Anyway, so he ended up, after all said and done, I think the Brewers actually offered him less when it comes to like financial, those numbers. But he just loved the team. He loves Pat Murphy. He's known him since he was drafted with the Padres, when Joe was 18 when he was drafted with the Padres. So he's 31 now. So he's known Pat for a really long time. Oh, wow. And he loves him. And he just was like, there's something about Milwaukee that feels right, especially coming out of injury. I feel like I can really focus there. I feel like the guys seem great. It seems like a good team, and I love the staff, and I trust them. Like when they say they're going to do this, I trust them to do it, because a lot of teams don't do what they say they're going to do, the whole thing. So when he signed with them, it was kind of a moment of relief, like for him to sign at all, just to like make the decision and get back on the mound and do his stuff, because he's been out for such a long time. I think when he got back on the mound to start his first game with the Brewers. They put on their story like it's been like 1,500 days since his last game or something crazy.
Wow.
Or his last major league start, something like that. So I was just really excited, and he loves his team. And of course, having that option with the Mets, and then we go to play the Mets for the first season or the first series of the whole season, and they just absolutely swept the Mets. Joe and I were like, okay, that was a good decision. That was great. We love Milwaukee, but yeah, he's having the best time and he loves it. And if he's happy and if the team is going to help him be healthy and do well, then I don't really care where we are, to be honest.
Yeah, that's awesome. What is it? What's it like for you? You've traveled a bunch. Do you like travel with the team, or how does that all work?
So it depends. Like, I think a lot of girls do travel with the team. It depends on like they have kids or, you know, things like that.
Is there just like a massive charter that goes to every
There
game?
is a charter. The team charters a big just a 737.
Yeah.
And typically we're allowed to, every team's different. So this is not how his last team was, but we're allowed to fly on the last leg of a road trip back home to Milwaukee on the charter. There is also like a family trip. It's actually coming up on Sunday where you fly the entire way. So they're flying to play the Angels and then going from the Angels, LA Angels to San Diego, and then flying back San Diego to Milwaukee. So it's just, you don't get to necessarily travel all the time with them. You do separate flights and stuff. I try to go to the cities where I feel like I could go and like record with someone or like see people that I know. So I'll travel a bit, but I also travel independently, like for my own work a lot. So I sometimes like to be home, like with my dog, even if he's gone, you know, like I just like to be in our little routine here as much as possible.
Great. Should we move on to some fan submitted relationship
Questions?
questions?
Yeah.
Little Ask P session on Milwaukee Uncut.
Here we go.
Did you ever think you'd be doing Ask P on a Milwaukee, Wisconsin podcast? Okay.
Just living my dream over here.
Love it. You're drinking Door County Cherry Vodka.
This is good stuff. Let me tell y'all, this is really good stuff.
Easy drink.
It is really good stuff. We have our own mini bottles too. Not to do a huge flex or anything right now, but they have the Milwaukee Uncut label on them.
Oh my God, that's sick. Okay, cool.
Welcome to take several for the road. Okay, this one is from Chef Adam, celebrity chef, Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay show. He just got a new dog. He's single.
Okay.
Early 30s, wondering how he can leverage his new dog Alfredo to meet women.
Gotta leverage the dog, don't you?
He may or may not have actually submitted that question, but I'm just being a good friend and asking it for him. Yeah, I'm just being a friend over here.
He is single. Okay, we gotta
and he'll be back on the show in a couple weeks. So we want
for dating in Milwaukee.
Yep.
Oh, amazing. I feel like a guy with a dog in his early 30s is prime like dateability green flags, because like when you're in your early 30s, you started to figure things out. Spoken from someone who just turned 30. I'm like, I'm starting to like figure this out. I feel like women, it hits you like a little sooner, but Joe's 31.
30 in September.
I am. Yeah, I'm turning 30 in September.
Oh, congrats. It's been actually the best time ever. I was a little bit nervous about it, but I feel like I just got in my head. And then 29 was like stressful for me. And then once I turned 30, it was like,
it feels okay.
Yeah, this is great. I love that people don't really tell like a 30-year-old woman like what to do as much as they did when I was like 26 or 27. You know, like it's not that far apart in age, but like if I say something that I want to do or say something that I think I know or something that I want, if someone, you know, goes to shit on it or something, and if I say anything about being like, well, I'm 30 and like this is what I figured out, everyone shuts up. I'm like, wow.
Because it's like you've experienced life.
Yeah, they take you a little more serious, which is nice. Obviously, you're not much older at 30 than I was at 27, but like
I feel like I haven't like changed in looks like too much from them. I like to think.
Same. But I've loved being 30, and I feel like Joe, you know, we broke up when he turned 30. We had been broken up, and then now he's 31. And I swear, meeting him when we were both like 26, 27, and now I'm like, you were a different person. Like, partially because I've trained you, but also because you just seem like so much more chill and like grown up. So I feel like that's a perfect place to be. And he's got a dog, so he's like, I think that's a green flag for women, being like he can take care of something and be consistent. And
26-year-old guys are not the most mature people, I would say.
I think,
generally speaking.
Yeah, generally.
Not so much. Joe was pretty mature, but we were definitely both were still in a big party phase, I would say. And it controlled a lot of our lives, which was super fun. I'm glad we met each other during that time. All of our friends met each other during that time. But now we're just a little more boring in a good way, I would say. Not boring, like boring where you need to be boring, you know what I mean, to prioritize other things. But yeah, obviously the dog park is like the best place to meet.
Oh yeah, sorry to derail the conversation from the chef. So
chef, go to the dog park.
Go to a dog park?
Yeah, we took Oakley to the dog park.
The dog park, the dog bar. There's that one bar that like allows dogs at it here. I think it's called Riley's. It's in the third ward.
The Riley's,
Really cute.
In the third ward.
Shout out to Riley's. A lot of breweries allow dogs here. The Harp allows dogs too.
Okay.
So we have to go on a dog bar crawl, actually.
That would be a fun thing to put together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Wow. Okay.
Okay, Payton. Colin Yelich, brother of Christian, chimed in on this question here. So he was asking about the chef. He tried to get the chef on a fitness regimen, but he's resorting to smoking darts and eating high caloric food. How important is physique to a woman when you're a celebrity chef? I think you get a little bit of leeway when you're a chef, but but should he maybe get some better habits going for the summer?
Here's the thing. I have a hot take about men who are in the gym a lot because I think that they think it's hot, but like women, if there's a guy, I don't like the chiseled body type is not my type. So when I see that out in the universe,
would you consider
run
Joe
away.
chiseled or no?
Joe is obviously very in shape, but he uses his body to throw a ball really fast. So like his body is built for that. It's not necessarily built for like a beauty standard. You know what I mean? So there's something about that I find more attractive because he's just like a big kind of like husky guy. He definitely like has like he's like chiseled. Joe, sorry, like you have abs. Okay. But it's not like a
narcissistic chisel.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
feel
like
like there's
guy on
a
TikTok.
difference between an athletic person and like someone who's super into themselves that go to the gym
and you care about all of that stuff. Like that's a big turn off for me. I'd prefer someone who just has like a normal body type in general. If it's not your job.
So the chef should keep doing what he's doing and
the
just
chef
go
is
to the
killing
dog
it.
park.
The chef should still just like keep up his,
do some walking,
just workouts.
Yeah. Go. Maybe
you don't have to.
He threw the
obsessed.
first pitch out the other week at the Brewer game. He got it to the glove. Yeah, he's killing it right now. All right, chef, you are doing good. Just go to a dog park and ignore Colin's advice.
Mine is if he's still in his 30s and still goes to college bars, is that green flag, red flag for you?
That's a huge red flag.
What if it's once every 3 months and not really past 1 a.m.?
If it's once every 3 months and you're going because someone has brought you there.
I was going to say, if you're going with your friends, like, who are also, like, older, but, like, you experienced that bar when you were younger to, like, reminisce.
Yes.
Like, that's fine.
A big one.
But if you're going there to, like, try to meet college-age girls.
Oh, so you're defending me, so I can do that once every 3 months.
Yeah, I feel like that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so another green flag, red flag one. He sends you flowers after your first date.
I feel like green flag. I feel like flowers. But here's the thing. I'm allowed to say this because I'm 30. This is like an excuse I make all the time because people are like, men or women expect so much. Women want this, whatever. I'm like, I do expect a lot, but it's because I'm 30 and I can do it for myself. There's a difference between flowers and then like flowers.
Yeah.
So like there's a difference between going to Trader Joe's, getting the pre-made bunch, not taking the plastic off, and giving it to someone. Nice. I wouldn't say it's a red flag by any stretch of the imagination. But I think that there are lovely local florists that make like really, really beautiful arrangements. And that's one thing I've trained Joe to do is people have noticed on social media, they've been like, wow, he's like really starting to get you like flowers. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. I told him every detail of what I like and made sure that he did that. And there's so many people to follow on TikTok too, that like guys who will go to Trader Joe's, get those same flowers or get the favorite flowers for really inexpensive and then put the bouquets together and show you how to do it yourself on TikTok. So I'm like, there's no excuse for you to go like a half green flag. Like I want a full green flag. I want flowers, whenever it is that you want to send them, you know?
You wouldn't think it was too over the top or love bombing after first date?
I don't think so. I think it depends on what the connection was of the first the first date.
I think you can just tell if a guy is creepy or not.
Yeah.
In general.
I mean,
too.
and that's coming from someone whose biggest fear is to be love bombed. Like,
Yeah.
I thought Joe and I were like 3 or 4 months into a full relationship, and I told my friends I thought he was love bombing me, and they were like, he's your boy. Like, that's not, he's just being nice. And I was like, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't trust this guy. He's really being nice to me. And they're like, Payton, what the hell?
All right, red flag, green flag. A guy using a tanning bed.
Red flag. That's synonymous with the whole guy on TikTok.
Okay. What if it's
flexing.
before going to Cancun? Shout out to Matthew Holbrook.
like living in Wisconsin in the winter.
In the
you're
winter.
just pale.
I get it. I get the paleness, and I know it's a double standard. But I would say, not even red flag. Just like, why are you doing that? Just stop.
Giant red flag. Matthew Holbrook, stop doing that.
Stop.
Okay, the next one. He's 36 and still plays in amateur golf tournaments.
I think that's fine.
Thank you, Payton. Thank you.
Hobbies are good. Hobbies are fine. You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
long as it's not taking over your life and you're too serious.
Well, there you go.
Well, or
Borderline.
I skipped a tournament today.
He did. That
okay.
is the big
Priorities.
That is the big priority. There.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's fine. I think
Green
I
flag.
need to have more
You got a
hobbies.
green flag for that.
Yeah.
It's true.
Hobbies are
Yeah,
good.
it is good when guys like have. Yeah, no, I appreciate your like drive and competitiveness to like do well and so.
I am shocked that this is on camera right now.
I know.
You're like going to use
It's
it.
just-
Bree and my dad refer to it as Loserville, that I go and compete against
It
college
is a
kids
little
in
Loserville
golf
when
tournaments.
you're
Low key, my dad's like checking live scoring
Yeah,
during
yeah,
it.
Okay, but it is a little loserville when you're like missing a ton of work and then.
Well,
see
you
that.
know, I'm managing that. Payton, would
Really
you be
advantage.
turned on if you were dating a guy who spent $400 to travel and play in a tournament and brought home $150 in pro shop credit after a good finish?
I don't know that I would use the phrase turned on.
Yeah.
I think
Impressed.
I'd be more like, okay. Okay.
Like good for you.
I'm glad you have interest.
The negative $250 ROI
Yeah,
was not
yeah.
happening on that one. Okay. Who do we got next?
Okay. So he sends back his food order from a restaurant after they had messed up his order a little bit.
If
Green
it's a
flag,
little
red
bit,
flag.
that's just weird behavior. Just eat the food. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Unless you're allergic or something crazy, obviously. Or if it's really, really expensive. Like,
Yeah.
let's say you're paying for we'll go to Carnivore sometimes. They're the best. They've never done this. But sometimes I'll look at what Joe's ordering and I'll be the one to be like, did they get it exactly right? Because you're ordering like an Australian Wagyu. I'm like, that's expensive. So let's make sure you're like getting it right. But if you're just being a dickhead, then like obviously red flag. Anyone, it's classic. Anything bad or mean to service workers.
Honestly,
That's just like a big foreshadowing of
Yeah.
what he's about to,
Like how you
he's gonna
treat other people,
Yeah, how he's
too.
going to treat you for sure.
if there's onions in the food, definitely taking it back. Apparently.
Payton, how would you handle this situation if you found a text on your boyfriend's phone from someone named Fairways and Greens who ended up being a cart girl?
Oh, a cart girl?
Named Fairways and Greens sent a provocative text to your boyfriend's phone.
I would wait until he goes to work, and then I would move every single thing I own out of the apartment. Also, our lease is under my name, so I'd also just change the keys and be like, "This is not my
Sorry,
roommate
you
anymore."
can't get in.
I would not say a single word. I'd block him. I would have all my friends block him and my family block him to the point where he'd be like, "Does she exist?" Or like, "Did I dream that?" And everything that he knows of me and our life is gone. That's what I would do.
That is a great answer. Okay, so if a guy needs to take a shower and he like
He's in a group setting or in a setting with 4 other people staying at their
I love how
place.
specific these are.
and he just says, "I need to take a body shower."
Okay. A body shower. That includes soap, right? We're assuming?
Payton, do you think it's odd that a male announces that he's taking a body shower to a group of people? I just hadn't heard that one before, and it was kind of after a Beyonce Taylor Swift debate that he was passionately debating, and
Okay,
I was
then he has to take a
I was
body
just kind of
shower.
sitting there and
I think that's just like, again, it's not even green flag or red flag. It's just like That's just like kind of our weird friend. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like the weird guy. He says stuff like that. Don't listen to him.
Love that answer too. I wish we had more of these. We only have like a few left. This one. What about a guy who wears a cowboy hat and struts around the Milwaukee bar scene, and his Instagram handle is AI Cowboy MKE?
AI Cowboy.
Yeah, is the AI included?
He works over at Baird. Shout out to Daniel Slade.
Okay,
yeah, he's very into technology, gambling at Potawatomi, and just going on a tear with his cowboy
like wearing
hat.
a cowboy hat in Milwaukee, like going out.
Okay, so I see what he's doing. He's trying to brand himself.
Yeah.
So girls can be like, that's the guy with the cowboy hat. Totally get it. Weird behavior unless you are a cowboy. But here's the thing. I'm from Texas and people wear cowboy hats out consistently all the time.
Because they're kind of cowboys. They're
Well,
Texans.
they're cowboys.
They're authentically Texas.
They are cowboys typically. Yeah. Or you're wearing like a nice one. Like when you get married in Texas, like everyone's got like their bridal Stetson, like it's like a thing, or your boots or something.
Yeah.
But I really haven't seen many in Milwaukee, and for that reason, I'm gonna say the branding. I get it, but stop.
I think he's from here and went to University of Iowa, so that's kind of far from Texas.
Yeah,
my personal
not a
opinion.
Southern guy.
Not a Southern guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the branding. I see why you would think that would go well, but probably not.
What do you think of guys who work in finance?
I think that they all similar to how I started with the athletes. Like, I think they get a bad rap because there's good ones that work in finance, and then there's fucking assholes.
I have some very nice friends who work in finance.
Some of my like friends who
I think
like
just
are
like
married.
finance guys have just gotten a really bad rap, like after.
Because it's the New York finance guys that are horrible, but like regular finance guys just like literally work on the computer all day and then just like want to watch football.
Yeah, like
They're
all
normal.
they do is like just go to work and then
Normal
be at
dude.
home.
Yeah, normal guy. Seems pretty great to me.
Okay, Payton, I got another specific one for you.
Okay.
It's Friday night in Chicago. Mm-hmm. You're dating a guy.
Okay.
He goes out to get a couple drinks with his friend. Mm-hmm. He goes out. You don't hear from him that entire night. And you're supposed to go on a date on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then you get a message in the morning that he's woken up in...
Oh, no.
He's woken up in Austin, Texas. With nothing but the clothes on his back, and he will not be making it back for date night. What do you do?
I would say, listen, guy, I want to party with you.
Yeah. Like,
I will never, ever, ever, ever date you in your entire life. But like we just like, I need to know the back end. We seem similar.
He just went out to Wrigleyville and then wanted to go somewhere warm, so he Ubered it to O'Hare after the 4 a.m. bar and woke up in Austin, Texas.
Did he have fun in Austin at least? Was he like?
He had a great time. The Snap story. I had to bring this up. This was from like 2016, there was a lot of Fireball. I think a lot of Modelo. It was sponsored by Chase Bank because they didn't have the money for the trip at the time, and his relationship did not last very much longer.
No,
I won't name him because he'll be pissed at me. But I thought that was worthy of an Ask P segment there. That was a good one.
I will say, like, there's so many people that I'm like, I would want to hang out with you. When it comes to men, I'm like, I like to like watch you do whatever it is that you're doing from afar. Maybe I'll partake.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
not gonna date
he's
yeah, that's a really great like just watch from afar. Like
he's married now. He has a kid now. He's living in Nashville. He got it together. One of my good college friends who you kind of love going out with him. Good to observe. Good to pop back into that orbit once in a while. But I was not on the Modus Austin.
But those are like the best
trip.
friends. Like those are the ones that make the trip the funniest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not maybe like a boyfriend.
Yeah,
but
at
the time.
Dating.
All right, let's go into some just random / Milwaukee questions. This is a random one. What is the craziest fan interaction that you have ever had in your life?
In my life, honestly, people who like listen to me or follow me on social media are first of all, I literally can't get myself to call them fans. Like I just feel weird saying that, so I just don't. I'll say like listeners or something like that. But no one's ever been crazy to me. It's been very standard that like people will see me out like partying or something, and like we'll all do a shot together, or they'll come over with a shot or whatever. I don't think this is necessarily like crazy, but it was very like, it felt like a big compliment to me. I guess last week I had a happy hour in Chicago, and it was an open invite, but like it was like a 30 spot happy hour, and it filled up way faster than I thought. Chicago's not on my list of like top cities, so I kind of was like a little bit nervous to do it there first. But it ended up being great. A girl drove in from Nashville to come to the happy hour.
That is awesome.
Cool.
And I was just like, that is like
That's
crazy
so
in a good
awesome.
way, to the point where I was like, I honestly felt bad. I like wanted to be like, do you want me to like
good.
give you a
That's
hotel
good.
room?
That's
Like,
good.
like, I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
this is, then you feel like you have to like perform. So I'm just like, do you want me to like do a show for you? Like, what do you want me to do? Because I like feel so like,
It's a good 7 hours.
it's a long
Yeah.
time. She made like a day of it. She like stayed with a friend and
Oh, that's
everything. But I
cool.
thought that was like
Oh, that's cool.
recently one of the more impressive interactions
Yeah.
I've had with someone who listens, for sure.
Okay, next question is favorite place you've been to in Wisconsin so far?
Well, we just got back from Lake Geneva, and I loved it there. It's easy to like the lake
Yeah.
really anywhere, but like it was so nice, so wholesome. Like I was telling you guys before we started, it was a lot of like, we went to some dinner and some bars and stuff, and it was a lot of just like middle-aged women in groups like of their friends having the best time of their life. And I'm like, that just gives me so much hope for my future. And I'm like, this is great. They're having so much fun. They're just like drunk singing like with the live band or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
dancing, like having the best time. And then the lake was beautiful, obviously seeing all the beautiful homes. And we got a boat to drive us around. And it was like,
Yeah.
it was a really cool way to spend an off day.
It's a great
so
spot in
so far,
Wisconsin.
big fan.
Who's more friendly, LA people or Midwesterners?
I think Midwesterners are more friendly in a different way. Like I think LA gets a bad rap because there's so many people there. Like obviously there's going to be proportionately like a lot of people that suck. But in my experience, there's so many people that are so great. And everyone's used to just like so much diversity. Everyone's different from you. It's not like, it's like you're either this or that. It's like you're this or that or the other thing or the other thing or the other thing. Like there's so many different people from different places, different races, different ethnicities, ages, job structures, level of income, religions, politics. It's just like the craziest spread of people, kind of like New York is. So people there, when you meet some good ones, could literally talk to freaking anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here, when I was just walking around today, I was walking my dog for truly 15 minutes, and like the cops are outside with like that bus that goes around and gives people free ice cream. And I'm just like sitting, the whole community's around there being like, do you want free ice cream? And like I walk like 5 more steps and this other guy's like, oh my God, like, does your dog ever experience constipation? Because my dog is. And I'm like, we get in a full conversation about constipation and how we both just moved to Milwaukee. He's from Chicago. And he's like, I hope I see you around. And then like I go to the coffee shop 5 seconds later and like we're just talking about my dog. So people like, in LA, when you talk to them, they're very, very friendly for like a long conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're walking down the street here, people similar to Texas, where I'm from, it's like everyone's got time. Like they're like,
right.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to anybody. You know what I mean? So I feel like for that reason, because everyone has like time to talk and they will speak to everyone who crosses their, threshold. I feel like Milwaukee is the Midwest in general seems very friendly.
Have you experienced some good Midwest goodbyes where you like want to leave, but people won't
Yes.
stop talking?
Here's the thing. That's
I'm
a
not
Texas
I'm not a
thing.
Midwest goodbye fan personally.
They just kind of ghost people.
Yeah.
That's the best method to.
Yeah.
So we had that in Texas. It reminds me of my parents all the time. It's like, all right, see ya. All right, have a good one. All right, tell them like whatever. Okay, I'll definitely do that. Okay, I'll call you tomorrow. Okay, tell me about Wednesday. All right, and you're like slowly like backing out. My parents have done that since forever. They're like, it's definitely a Texas thing too.
All right, you got prepped well.
Yeah,
For
I
your
got prepped
stint
well.
here?
I got prepped well. People, again, also in small town Texas too, they have time. They will talk to you for. My grandma is like the face of that, actually, from what I can discover. So yeah, I've gotten used to that for sure. I've been used to it, but I'm like y'all. I very much am like, okay, bye. Turn around, leave.
Yeah.
Like I got to get out of here.
Or a lot of times you just gotta leave.
Well, you can't even say bye, or they start talking to you. You just gotta leave.
If you
I
say
love an
bye,
Irish
then you have to
exit.
talk more.
Yeah, I love an Irish exit.
Yeah.
What is your favorite place to take your dog in Milwaukee?
So we love the Estabrook Dog Park. because it's like the fenced-in one.
Oh yeah, Estabrook. They got a beer garden up there.
That's a good
We
spot.
saw recently they've set that up.
Yeah.
We love that. I usually walk her in the mornings, like kind of either downtown or like over by the Third Ward area. So that's been nice. I've walked her like over by the lakefront where the Summerfest like amphitheater is. So I've seen it. She loves it over there, but she's like very what her trainer calls prey driven. So like there's a lot of birds and like, you know, things like that. So I'll do so when she's really tired. I'll walk her over there so she doesn't like pull my arm off. But it's gorgeous over there.
Culver's or In-N-Out?
I haven't had Culver's yet.
Are you kidding me?
I haven't
You
had Culver's.
haven't had Culver's?
But here's the thing. I don't really like In-N-Out that much. And Joe hates this about me because he's born and raised from California.
Yeah.
Loves In-N-Out. I think Shake Shack is better than In-N-Out. That's my hot take. But I also am a Whataburger. Like that's my entire high school, middle school experience is Whataburger.
I had that on my notes. That was my follow-up question of Whataburger or Culver's.
Whataburger it's like open all the time. We would go there, like sneak out of the house and like go to Whataburger.
Get Culver's like burger and cheese curds there.
Would you say it's similar to an In-N-Out if y'all are
I think it's better. Yeah,
it's better?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like super similar because they don't have like the sauce or.
Yeah, they got. I don't know. Yeah, they don't have
like
the sauce.
Butter burger.
Yeah.
More so. Like the meat is like different too.
Yeah.
It's good.
See, what I love about the Whataburger burgers, and I feel like it's very obviously specific to Texas, clearly. They actually have them in Arizona too, which is like exciting. But the Whataburger burger is like almost like a smash burger. So it's really wide and thin, which I love. But yeah, I think Shake Shack's honestly like my favorite burger place. So
Shake Shack is good.
When I go to order one, I order Shake Shack here. So maybe I'll just get
You
Culver's
do need
next
to
time.
try Culver's.
I'll do that next time.
I've had a Whataburger like 5 times in my life. I went to spring break, South Padre Island.
Oh, beautiful.
2010.
Wonderful.
Those were my Whataburger trips, and they tasted really good. I don't know how much of that was from alcohol or from Whataburger, but
well, you got to have Whataburger at like 4 a.m. unless you're my dad. Like my dad is a Whataburger for a meal sober all the time kind of person. That's
the fighter pilot.
The fighter pilot. He loves. Actually, he flies commercial now. So and there's a Whataburger right outside of the Dallas airport that he lands at to drive back to our hometown. So it's always the Whataburger post flight.
Okay, next question is Pacific Beach or Bradford Beach?
Have you been to Bradford
No,
Beach?
I have not been to Bradford Beach.
Oh,
They have
you
so
gotta
many
go to Bradford.
tiki bars and volleyball
Really?
courts. The AI cowboy loves
Okay.
Bradford Beach. He just
Well,
like
if AI Cowboy loves it.
We'll need to take you to
it
Bradford Beach.
was the GCTB a couple summers ago, the Great Clips Tiki Bar over in Bradford Beach.
You sponsored a bunch of drinks there.
Oh my
He
God.
just paid for
just paid
everyone.
for it.
Yeah, he was just throwing down. Okay, well,
Bradford
make it over to
Beach.
Bradford Beach. It's a good time. Oh, this is a good question. Who do you think is the hottest player on the Brewers not named Joe Ross?
I think that I cannot answer that question.
There. Okay. All right.
Joe would kill me.
All right.
I don't see other men. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see them. at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Once you're
can't
with
see
someone.
I see
What a
Joe. I don't
what
see-
a great answer.
Okay. What is your favorite Wisconsin food so far?
Okay, so obviously I've got to say the beer has been great to us.
What kind of beer do you like?
Being from Texas, I will go to a bar and be like, "What's the lightest beer you have on tap?" It's just like that's my thing. I'll drink whatever they say the lightest beer is. I do like Spotted Cow a lot.
Me too.
Joe drank about 20 Spotted Cows in the last 48 hours at the beach. He loves Spotted Cow. We did our first like Spotted Cow taste test over at the public market. We got it like on tap, which was great. I think cheese curds obviously a big part of Wisconsin culture. I've heard. I waited to try them because people said go to Culver's, get some like cheese curds. But then everyone had some very specific opinions about me going to Lakefront Brewery to try them.
Yeah.
So we did that. They were so good. Like we loved.
They got good
Lakefront.
beer over there too.
Good
Yeah,
beer.
good beer.
We brought the dog. We had the cheese curds for the first time. But I will say I just had a place in Lake Geneva, just like kind of a lakeside place. I forget what the name of it is. But I think they had the best cheese curds I've had so far.
Yeah,
They're
I
so
feel
good.
like, well, with cheese curds too, I mean, they're kind of like little mini mozzarella sticks too. But
No,
if
it's
you
that.
if you get also just like cheese curds that aren't like deep fried and then you let them sit out, or two, if you microwave them for 15 seconds in the microwave, they become squeaky. So when you eat them, they squeak in your mouth.
Yes, I've heard this for sure. The ones at Lakefront were different for sure than the ones I tried it by Lake Geneva were like more mozzarella sticky, but I like how lightly breaded they are.
Yeah.
I love anything fried. You could literally feed me anything fried. Yeah. So obviously a cheese curd was going to work for me. But
have you had any Leinenkugel's beer yet?
I haven't.
They got a good summer shandy. They have a bunch
they
of good
do
light
have
beer.
good-
They
yeah.
have the Barrel Yard at Miller Park or at
They do. You have to go to
now.
the Barrel Yard.
Amfam.
Yeah. Leinenkugel's, so they're up Chippewa Falls, which is up by like Eau Claire, where I'm from. Too, they have. But yeah, they have really good beer.
Yeah.
Good shandies.
It's good light beer.
Good light beer.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to do a little exploring today at the field when I go to the game.
Yeah.
So
go to the Barrel Yard.
So I'm like,
yeah, they
I'm
have
gonna
good food there too. They had a good burger.
They are right over in left field.
Yeah.
Left field. Okay, good to know. I never leave. Like I literally walk in the little tunnel and then I just sit down and watch Joe pitch and panic. And then I drink a couple beers from whatever's closest. Like I don't ever like travel around the stadium.
Yeah, they have a pilot brewery in the park. It's just right over in left field, right past where you would hit a home run to.
Beers there.
Any favorite spots in Milwaukee other than Carnivore so far?
So Carnivore is more like I feel like it's all the boys on the team, like the Carnivore situation.
Where all the athletes go.
I get it. Like, and every time we go, we'll see someone. Joe will be like, "Oh my god!" Like Joe doesn't realize sometimes that like he's really good at his job. Like he knows, but he doesn't like know. But he'll be like, "Oh my god, he plays for the Bucks," and I'm like,
"But you play for the
Brewers."
Brewers."
Isn't it like kind of like your coworker, kind of in a sense, like. So we've liked Carnivore. That's more of like a bro thing. Like if Joe has a day off, we'll go to Carnivore the night before.
Have you met Omar over there?
Joe has met Omar. Yes.
He's a great guy.
He seems to be very popular amongst the players.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Omar just takes care of everyone.
He does. We've got an Omar card.
He just takes care of the city of Milwaukee. He's a good guy.
Seems like it. We've got a little Omar, his contact information on our fridge, basically. It's sitting there. Joe likes to be a man of the town. You know what I mean? He likes to know where he's playing.
He's in a perfect spot then.
He loves it. We've actually been to, let's see, day to day. We love Collectivo, obviously. Fairgrounds.
The lakefront one.
We've been to the lakefront one. I haven't been to that one place called Musa, I think, over on the lake. It's like I think it's near.
That's right by Bradford. That's right by the Great Clips Tiki Bar.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah,
That's
it's like a custard burger stand in the parking lot.
Oh, isn't that where it's like painted with the
cow?
Yeah, with the cows.
Yes.
It's really cute over there. And then there's also Nomad Coffee Bar we've been to. Didn't realize that was like a bar. So I went for coffee, and that was
Nomad
like
on Brady?
Yeah,
Brady.
That's where you go get a PBR, a cigarette, and a shot.
Yeah, no. Joe and I like went over there, and I was like, "Oh, the coffee has alcohol in it," and then we were like, "Oh, this is a bar."
Yeah,
okay, got it.
Bree and I used to live right next to that, basically.
That's
Brady
been
Street.
fun. Where else did we go? We went to, the Edison's, like right there in the 3rd Ward. That was pretty good. Where else? There's been a couple places that like I will frequent by myself because Joe works so much, and I love to go on a so date. So,
but you have not been to the Harp or Joe Katz.
Honestly, you need to go on. We need to go out in Milwaukee.
Please show me the ways
for a true like Milwaukee bar crawl where you go crazy.
Well, I'm gonna be completely honest.
So fun.
I feel like typically on the team, for example, the people that I do know here, which is pretty much the only girls I've known here.
Yeah.
A lot of them have kids, or they're more refined than say someone like myself.
Bree and I like getting back in the trenches every once in a while.
I don't like a little, really like I've been
crazy
out
nights.
A couple times like with some of the girls from the team or people that I've met just like online, like who are other influencers. And we'll sit there and we'll be like, let's go to drinks, and everyone's going to drinks, and like for some reason I'm the only one that's blackout, and I'm like, we've been talking about this all week. Like everyone's like, we're gonna get so drunk and like we're gonna have so much fun. Everyone has a margarita and a half, and I'm like,
what?
We'll
keep going.
What's happening here? Like I thought
I just had a drink.
Had 4 so far. We were talking this up, so yeah, I definitely need like a bar crawl kind of friend. Around here, and they just want to show me what's going on. Because again, Joe can last a little bit, but when he's in season, he's so boring.
Yeah.
No, obviously,
as he should be.
He should be. Yeah.
But I don't have to be boring.
But no, you do need to experience like a good Milwaukee going out.
I need that for sure.
We got you.
For sure.
And any closing words to the city of Milwaukee?
To the city of Milwaukee. So far, I loved your cheese curds. Loved the people. I'm so happy that it's started heating up.
Yes.
It was so summery today. I felt so great when we pulled in. I like got an Arnold Palmer and a sandwich, and I was like, this is how I want to do the Midwest. Everyone go to a Brewers game. It's my mission to make baseball for the girls, because really of any sport, I think it's the sport for the girls, mostly because it's so easy to watch. You sit there, a pitch happens, you chat, gossip. A pitch happens again. Sometimes I'll look up if Joe's not pitching, for example, I'll look up and be like, oh, the game's over. And all I did was talk for the whole time. And the outfits are cute. So baseball's for the girls. So if you are in Milwaukee and you're a girl, I better see you at a Brewers game. And perhaps my bar tab.
Yeah.
We'll set up.
Yeah.
Payton, thanks so much for coming on today. You're welcome back anytime. That was awesome.
Thank you.